Hey everyone, it's Julian Gordon from SideHustler.com, and I want to welcome you to the Side Show. Today I'm going to be talking about how to think about your time before work, after work, and on the weekends. And at the end of the day, there's only 4 things that you should really be doing. I want to make sure that you are doing business and not doing busy work. I'm going to show you that with this framework called S.I.D.E. S-I-D-E. Now, we're all here to profit off our passions, and we want to reach our earning potential and make extra income. So when we break that down, what does income really mean? At the end of the day, income is simply revenues minus expenses, and that's what gets you income. So when you're thinking about your side hustle, you need to be doing one of 2 things. You either need to be figuring out how to increase your revenues, which will increase your income, or decrease your expenses, which will increase your income. You need to be focused on those things. When you sit down at your desk or at Starbucks, wherever it is that you're hustling, you have to think about, is what I'm doing right now going to somehow increase my revenues or decrease my expenses so that my income increases? So let me walk you through this framework really quickly so that you know how to manage your time and make sure that you're using your time, which is your most precious asset when it comes to building your side hustle, especially since you're probably working a 40-hour work week or more, how to use that in such a way where you're actually growing your side hustle so that one day perhaps it can support you. And so first I want to talk about the S. And the S is selling. Yes, it is selling. It's not sharing, it is selling. And I know a lot of people hate the selling process. I have this great idea, I'm good at what I do, but I'm not interested in the selling part. I wish somebody else could do that for me. Well, that's actually essential to you actually getting the opportunity to do some of these other things that are right here. And I like to think about selling in 3 ways. One, you can be on calls. I find that the more calls that I'm having with people, the more likely it is that I'm going to sell the work or sell the business. The other way I think about selling is when I'm at conferences. And there's a couple ways to navigate conferences. I'll introduce you to my boy, Ambassador Bruni, who actually does work on how to maximize conferences. But there's 3 ways to navigate conferences really quickly. One, you can just go and you're networking with new people and sharing what you do and what you're up to. The other is to be a presenter. You could have a workshop with 30 or 40 people in it and perhaps get business from that interaction. Or you can be a panelist or a speaker at the conference and you're speaking to the group session with everybody there, and I've gotten business doing work all 3 of those ways, okay? So that's what I think about. So one is calls, the other is conferences, and the final one is coffee. Now, this is not coffee with individuals who might be interested in coaching or consulting. For those kind of individuals, I actually set up an intake process or an intake form where they answer who they are, where they are, how much they're willing to invest in coaching or consulting, and what they expect from a coaching relationship. This happens before I give my time, which is my most valuable asset. This happens and they send this form, and then the call that we have, which is only 10 to 15 minutes, is really about them asking me questions to see if I'm the type of coach that they feel can support them in getting to where they're trying to go when it comes to growing their side hustle. So again, that's being on calls, that's going to conferences, or that's having coffee. Now, when I'm having coffee with people, I'm having coffee with partners. People who are going to bring not just one client, but multiple clients. So when I think about partnerships, I think about people like accountants. When people are trying to start their side hustle, they're thinking about what is the accounting going to be like for my taxes coming up, right? They're also looking for lawyers to incorporate or to copyright an idea that they have. They're looking for web developers. They're looking for designers for their logo or for their brand. They're looking for photographers for headshots. So these are the kind of people that I meet with, because for every client that they get, they may hear that I'm actually struggling to grow my business. I need to get it incorporated. I need headshots. I need a website, but my business isn't growing at the rate that I want it to grow. And then that person can make the referral to me. So when it comes to getting up, going and transporting to somewhere, meeting with somebody in person, and then coming back to my office, I have to make sure that that is worth my time. Because let's just say I value my time at $300 per hour. Having coffee with someone, which may take 3 hours when we're talking about going there, meeting with them and coming back, that's a $900 investment in terms of a meeting with someone. And so I have to be very clear about how I give and spend my time and make sure that I'm gonna get a return on that investment in some way. The next thing to think about is I. And I is improving. Improving what you are already doing. This is improving what you're already doing. I know when I started out, I just would create. I'd put something out in the market. If it didn't catch fire, then I would just create something else. Create. And I have 5 books as a result of that. Now I have no regrets because I call that failing forward. But I don't want you to have to go through that same exact thing. But I could have instead just said, how can I improve that which I already have and continue to refine those things until they got working? Oftentimes, it's not the idea that's bad, it's really us giving up on the idea before it's time that prevents the idea from spreading as fast and as wide as we want it to go. And so we always need to figure out, how can I improve what I do? And when we're talking about improving what we do, improving is either gonna make what we do more valuable so that we can capture more revenues, or it's gonna make what we do more efficient so that we can decrease our expenses. So selling increases revenues, and improving can either increase revenues by creating something that's more valuable, and therefore once you create more value, you can capture more value, or it makes things more efficient where we can reduce our expenses, thus increasing our income. Now, the next thing to think about when you're spending your time before work, after work, or on weekends is delivering. Now, this is where most people want to be. They want to spend all their time delivering. If you are a trainer, you want to spend all your time at the gym working with your clients. If you are a coach, you want to spend all your time on Skype or on the phone, meeting with people and helping them get to the outcomes that they want in their career and life. If you're a consultant, you want to be helping that company get from $1 million in revenues to $1.5 million in revenues while you are working with them. And oftentimes we want to spend 100% of our time here because this is actually the only time that we get paid for. We don't get paid by our clients for selling. We don't get paid by our clients by improving directly. The only thing that we directly get paid for is actually delivering a particular outcome, product, and service to our customer or client. And so oftentimes delivering is what we're naturally great at. It's where we would spend all of our time if we could, because it comes so easy to us. These things are harder, but in fact, you have to do these things, selling and improving, in order to get the opportunity to deliver what it is that you have to give to the world. All right? So finally, E is experimenting. Okay, Julian, what is the difference between improving and experimenting? Improving is about what you already have, right? So perhaps you have a product or a service and you say, how can I make this thing right here that I already have better than what it is? Experimenting is thinking about what's new and what's next, right? I'm great at this. I've improved this to a point where it's very efficient and I'm capturing the maximum value possible that I can from it. But experimenting is thinking about, now that I have this under my control, how can I experiment and think about what's next and what's for the future? So when we think about Apple, Apple originally was a computer company, and it still is at its core and its foundation, right? But it makes more than just computers and laptops now. All of a sudden, it creates the iPhone and the iPad and the iPod. And those businesses, the iPhone and the iPad, have actually trumped its computer business. But if it never dedicated any energy to experimenting on what's new and what's next, then it wouldn't have found these new revenue streams, which have allowed it to grow into a multi-billion-dollar revenue company. All right, so when you're thinking about what you do when you wake up early before work and you're trying to get that hour in on your side hustle, make sure that it fits into one of these 4 categories. When you get home from work, right? When you get home around 6, you eat dinner, might take a quick nap or something like that, and you wake up at 7, 8, or 9, and you're about to put in that 2 to 3 hours in on your side hustle, make sure that you're either selling, improving, delivering, or experimenting. And when you wake up early on Saturdays and Sundays, make sure that you are working on your side, all right? So, thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe at www.sidehustler.com to get more videos like this on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for listening, and keep hustling. Peace.